Squash! Butternut squash, I love you! Recording? Hey guys, today we're going to be making a fall coconut butternut squash soup, also adding carrots. So in this soup, because it's fall, we have the butternut squash, which is in season right now. Very good. We're going to have some carrots, carrot action, an onion, parsley for garnish, and we're doing coconut milk to give it a nice little flavor, and we're also adding ginger. We are going to start with the butternut squash. First thing I want to do is cut this guy in half. So with a knife, cut this guy right in half, just like that, okay? And then, butternut squash is going to have a nice neck, and then the seeds on the inside. Remove the seeds, okay? Let's get ourselves a bowl. Butternut squash, look at that. Pretty good. Parchment paper. Parchment paper is good. You don't really want to roast it on a plain baking sheet because it's going to be really hard to clean afterwards. And this just makes your life so much easier. Okay. Woo! So, butternut squash. Before you bake it, we're going to be baking it face side down. And before you do that, you actually want to season the inside first with salt, just salt. And what this does is salt does something very magical where it actually pulls out moisture, and so it's actually gonna give it a lot more flavor. So when it pulls out the moisture, it's so hot in there that it just evaporates right away, intensifying the flavor and making it super tasty. Just like this, okay? And that's it. If you want to go like a super extra step, you can put just a touch of oil on the outside, rub it around, just like this, and then put a little bit more salt. The oil is just to keep the salt in place. Does the same thing. When this goes into the oven and it starts to sweat, the salt will actually abstract more water, and then it'll just evaporate once it hits the surface. So I'm putting this butternut squash on one side because I'm going to be cutting these carrots, chopping them up, and putting them on the other side to roast, so we get a really nice roasted flavor. This is going to take about 40 minutes to roast, and this is going in a 350-degree oven, which I already have preset. Carrots are the next thing we're going to tackle. For carrots, you always want to wash them. Washed carrots, and we're going to peel these guys. And when I peel a carrot, I go from head to tail. I don't like just go randomly like this on one side. It just wastes time. I rather do the whole carrot down one side, down the other side. You could always lay the carrot down flat and then peel sideways like this. Just hold the tip just like that and peel. See? Then you just roll the carrot forwards or backwards and peel just like that. You can actually hold the carrot like this, upright, and peel it downwards. Downwards! Nice little pink bowl here. Pinky. So we're going to be cutting these guys into just roughly chopped pieces. It also can't be this piece and then let's just say this piece. These two pieces are not going to cook at the same time. So when you throw these in, this is going to be overcooked by the time this is ready, or if this one's perfect, this one will be raw, and we don't really want that. We want roughly the same size. And this is taking too long, so what I usually do is I'll take the carrots, and then I'll take my knife and I'll push them so they're all aligned, and then take off every top, throw them out, and then do the bottoms too. See how they're not aligned? And then I do this, like a train, and then take the bottoms off. Okay, now they're all even. Even, Steven. Teaspoon of oil, salt, of course salt, and pepper. Salt and pepper. Like I said before, the salt brings out the water from the vegetables. Also, it's all obviously for seasoning. And now the carrots are ready. So I'm going to keep this on the side. Next, we will deal with the onion. So the onion for a soup is very basic. You have a top you have a bottom. We're gonna take the bottom of the root completely off like that. And then we're gonna take the top off, just like yeah. Okay, don't need this. This is all garbage. Okay, now you see this juice? Can you see this juice right here? This juice that's coming out of the onion right here? This is exactly what makes you cry. So when you cut the onion, you're actually breaking the cells in between each layer, and then the acid actually reacts with the membrane in the onion. So when this reaction happens, it becomes airborne. And when it comes airborne, it goes directly towards your face direction, and it goes into your eyeballs, and it starts to make you cry. And that's how onions make you cry. That's why the most effective way to counteract crying when cutting an onion is wearing onion goggles. Onion goggles. Anyway, so onion, cut it in half, lengthwise like this, okay? And you're gonna lay it down flat, and we want like consistent pieces. So I'm gonna cut this in half, and cut this in half, and then cut this one in half, so I know it's even. And then I'll cut 1, 2, 3, so 4. So it's 4 by 4 onion. We're gonna do the exact same. Cut up an onion. Okay. Ginger, native to China. So the thing with ginger is, you don't want the skin, but at the same time, you don't want to use a peeler to peel the skin because it's really, really wasteful. What we like to use is a spoon. Yeah, it's called a spoon. So you take the spoon, and then you take the skin off just like this, okay? Just like this. So because the spoon isn't sharp, it actually is really blunt, and it allows you to take off just the skin without actually taking out a lot of meat. Ginger's done. Okay? If you're going to be pureeing a ginger, you have to remember that the ginger is very fibrous and stringy, and like the fibers run up and down. Like look at this, like this parsley that's like the strings, right? So in order to make sure that this is going to get pureed properly is if you cut it against the grain, like this, okay? So you're basically severing all of those little strings so it can break apart easier, right? If I were going to cut the ginger like this, it's actually a lot harder to break apart. You see those strings? It's a lot harder to break apart because of the strings, just like that. Look at all these strings, okay? So when you're doing soup or whenever you're doing any recipe that involves pureed ginger, you have to cut against the fibers to get a more smooth and consistent ginger, which is what we're gonna do right now, okay? So you wanna cut. Whoa. Okay. Parsley. Then you just pull the leaves off, just like this, okay? Take your leaves, just like this, and you're gonna get your knife, take it, bunch it all in a little ball here. Normally this would be a little bit drier, okay? Bunch it in a little ball, okay? Scrunchy, 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 scrunchy into a little ball. And then you take your knife and then you just start chopping away, okay? With parsley, you generally want to only cut it one time. With any leafy herb, you just want to cut it one time. Just because if you try to like run your knife again through it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, what tends to happen is your cutting board tends to get green. And when your cutting board is green, that means you just smashed all of the flavor into your cutting board, and that's actually not ideal, okay? So this is just once over sliced parsley, and this is gonna be perfect for garnish. And you can garnish anything because parsley is delicious. So now that the butternut squash has been in there for about 20-25 minutes, I'm actually gonna add these to the other side of the pan. Halfway done cooking, and these carrots have been oiled and seasoned, and I'm just gonna put them on the other side of the tray. So that way these guys can actually cook together. I'm gonna space out the carrots a little bit because airflow around the vegetables are gonna make it brown from all sides. Back into the oven for about another 20 minutes. So these have been in for about 40 minutes. As you can see, I'm gonna put it down over here because it's hot. So the way to check when a squash is done is to actually take a knife and to poke it. And you should be able to poke it all the way through with very little effort. So the way that I'm holding my knife right here, I should just be able to push it through with no effort, both of them, just like this. And when it's super soft for me to put the knife in, it's ready. It's like a joke, it's done. There'll be an air pocket right here. And when you lift this up, there's gonna be like a huge amount of steam that's gonna come and it's gonna burn your fingers. So whenever you're dealing with this, always tongs. Always tongs or a spoon or something, okay? So look. Flip this over. Look at that steam, see that? That would burn your face. Burn your face! This one too. Woo! Look at that. Oh, it smells so good! Okay, and look. The skin should come right off. So this literally happens with every squash. And you just have to be very, very careful when you're doing this so you don't burn yourself. And this squash looks really, really good. Look how vibrant orange it is after the cook. So we can actually leave this for a little bit to let it cool down. Whew, hot! But it's so good. You can wait until it's completely cooled and you can peel it off. Or what I like to do is take that skin off, and then I'll actually take my knife and I'll slowly skin it out. Rough chop in half, and then I'll just cut this up. It doesn't really matter because it's going into a soup. Pot. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. Make sure it's on about medium to medium high heat. First thing to go in are the onions. Okay. Onions go in. You want to hear that sizzle. Obviously you want to season. A little bit of salt. Do a little browning action. That browning is good. Okay. That means the sugars in the onion are going to be caramelized, which means it's going to make our soup a little bit sweeter. And that's exactly what we want. Carrots right here. Okay. Throw them in now. Carrots, onions. Right? We already seasoned the carrots in the oven, so we don't need to season them right now. Now at this point, we're going to add our flavoring. Add about a teaspoon garlic powder. Add about a teaspoon of cinnamon. Add about a teaspoon of turmeric. We're going to add our squash in. It was not seasoned all the way through in the oven, so hit it with a little bit of salt. Ginger. So we're going to cook out our ginger. And now we're going to add our chicken stock. Chicken stock goes in. Once it comes to a boil, we'll cook it out. Let it simmer for about probably like 10-15 minutes. The soup has been cooking for about 20 minutes now. Tastes good! Okay, so now I'm gonna add my coconut cream. Butternut squash soup. Okay. Ooh, smells amazing! I'm gonna start putting all of the ingredients into the Vitamix. We're gonna blend this guy, and a few important key notes when blending a hot soup is if you have Vitamix, take this off. If you put this on, and the whole thing is covered and sealed, it will explode and you're gonna get soup on your ceiling. And it's not a good look, okay? So what you're supposed to do is take the cap off, have a little hole, okay? And then you close it like this, okay? And then you take a rag on top and you put it on top like this, okay? So what happens when I turn this on is it's gonna start going, and the steam will just build up and shoot right out. So when you're blending this, also do not put your hand here, it will burn. And make sure that you have a towel on top, okay? And when this goes, it's gonna be really loud, you're not gonna be able to hear me talk. Like 2 minutes. Soup is done, but this is only half of the soup. Oh, good! Sure, the hole is still off. Lid off. In. Woo! What? God. It smells amazing. Serve it up. Boop. Ricotta cheese. Any sort of like even cottage cheese, sour cream, anything along those lines would be really, really good in this soup. Bam. Parsley. You can even add a little bit of oil on top to make it nice. And then just a little thing of boop, pepper. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, good.